All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started again. We want to thank you to all of our real estate pros, all of our loan officers who decided to show up tonight. I know we have a few tax pros on as well, but nonetheless, we want to thank you for accepting the invitation to come and hear about this revolutionary platform and this transcending the industry and allowing you guys to be able to put more families into homes, to be able to help those families eliminate debt, reduce their unbalanced DTI, and ultimately start thinking about their financial future through home ownership and leveraging homes to build wealth. And so my name is Michelle Kofer. I am an advocate with this phenomenal platform, Debt Cleanse, and you've been invited here tonight by someone who obviously thinks highly enough of you to share this with you. This can actually help explode your business. It can help get more families qualified. So we're going to go ahead and deep dive and talk about tonight how we got here. We have two phenomenal co-founders, Mr. George Newberry, as well as Mr. Chet Seeley. And I can tell you that from a very personal place, both these men come from humble beginnings. George actually, not only did he not graduate from high school, but he was smart enough to be able to go out, create a successful business for himself in the real estate industry as an investor. And in 2004, I want to say, he ended up losing over 4,000 units in a natural disaster, and it left him with $26 million in debt. And so instead of filing bankruptcy, instead of, complaining and whining and coming up with excuses, he created a way to get himself back out of debt, never filing that bankruptcy, as I mentioned, and leveraging attorneys to do that, and ultimately created a book, which became a bestseller. And now he's created a system whereby our goal as a company is to help the minority community specifically achieve a home ownership rate of 75% or more. Mr. Chet Seeley, he himself also, as I mentioned, came from very humble beginnings. He is a successful entrepreneur, seven-figure business builder, has actually led some companies to the billion-dollar mark, but nonetheless, he combined his expertise with that of George's, and they created this phenomenal platform where we get to share with realtors all across the country what our mission is, and we get to collaborate and merge our ecosystem. So in the next 5 years, we will help 1 million families resolve debt, improve their credit, and become homeowners. We know that economically people are struggling, but we want to be able to give them a real solution backed by results that they could trust, right? And so our approach to debt and credit problem solving is obviously very different than what you've seen in the market. I know a lot of times as real estate pros, you will say, okay, well, I'll refer you to the lender, and the lender comes up with this, oh, do this and do that, but then you never see that client. We want to stop your clients from having this revolving door of in your office, out your office, in your office, out your office, but never to the closing table. So we want to be able to close the gap from the time that you meet them to the time they actually can get those keys by giving them a system where they can get out of this overwhelming debt, where they can get these credit reporting errors addressed. So first, we're going to develop a debt freedom strategic plan. So we're going to look at the credit reports, all three of them for your client, and we're going to help them by getting them in front of our plan attorneys. Our attorneys are going to analyze that information. And then secondly, they're going to create a debt freedom strategic plan. So this attorney's goal is to help create a debt solution by getting that debt off and going in and disputing any of those debts as appropriate so that the client's credit score is elevated and their DTI becomes more balanced. And then finally, we're going to help those clients get that credit on track and keep it on track. So we're going to have them reconnect with their plan attorney every single month. So this is not a system where somebody's, doing some cookie cutter letters for your clients or telling them what to do and giving them, tricks and that cost them thousands of dollars. This is super affordable. They are meeting with consumer attorneys on a monthly basis where they're now going to be leveraging the law to look for any new violations, and they will create legal action plans as needed. So when we think about America, you guys, over 5 million Americans weren't able to pay their rent or mortgage just, December of 2020. We know that these are staggering numbers and so many families are hurting, but guess what? 4 million Americans, their wages are being garnished. Why? Because of delinquent debt. And so when you start thinking about the families you serve, whether, they've already come to you, as a client looking to buy a house, or maybe they were referred, or, maybe these are people that you go to church with, or your kids are their kids are in PTA with you. we know that Americans are hurting. And when we look at the fact that everybody's using payday loans to just pay ordinary living expenses, we know we got to create a solution for those families. And then take it another step further, 71 million Americans have collection accounts. So that means they've at least gone behind on an account multiple months in a row, and they're just overwhelmed. And so we're able to help you all as professionals. How? By helping your clients who have issues with foreclosure, forbearance, credit card debt, medical debt, student loan debt, payday loan, you name it. Take a screenshot of this, you guys, because these are all of the things and more that we actually can help your clients with. When we start thinking about credit card debt, nearly 80% of Americans with credit cards are worrying that they won't even be able to make their monthly minimums. That is alarming. And so we want to show people, one, how to create a financial solution for themselves so that when they do get to the closing table, you guys, and buy that house, we don't worry about a foreclosure, right? And so we want to be able to help people pay those bills. And we do that legally by leveraging the law. So our plan attorneys work directly with your client to make sure they are protected, whether it's Fair Debt Collections Practice Act, Fair Credit Reporting Act, the Real Estate Settlement Procedures, Telephone Consumer Practice, and any other state or federal consumer protection laws that you and I, even as consumers, may not even be aware of, right? And so we want to do this right here. We want to stop threatening notices. We want to make sure people are not getting those nasty, constant, consistent collection calls. And we want to make sure there are no errors on their credit report, because we know that errors on the credit report can actually keep a client from owning a home. At Debt Cleanse, we want to help the clients to understand how their credit is calculated. And I'm not going to go into this in depth because as professionals, all of you've seen this, right? We know that you've seen this, but I want you to understand, because what we've realized over time is even though you may be selling a house, you yourself may not be in a house yet. Right? So you may have the same goals as the clients you serve. And so it's important to note that paying your bills on time is super, super important, especially within the last 12 to 24 months. That's 35% of your score. One missed payment, one late payment can send your credit spiraling backwards 60, 80, even 100 points plus or more. We want to make sure your utilization or amount owed is beneath 30%. So this is making sure that your credit cards are not maxed out. And we know economically, so many families are hurting right now. People are living on their credit cards, but you want to keep that underneath 10%, as the FICO just changed their model, FICO 10T. So I want to keep that under 10% so that those trends are not negatively impacting the clients, because as you guys know, as professionals, Fannie Mae is now going to be giving people the opportunity to qualify for funding, but it's going to be based on that FICO 10T. And then we look at the length of the history, that's 15%. So you want to make sure that your clients are not closing out accounts. We educate them around that. 10% is new credit, making sure they're not applying for too much credit, getting those new inquiries. And we know we educate them from this side to make sure as they're getting ready to qualify and even think about home ownership, that they don't want to apply for any new lines of credit anyway, because we know that will hurt them when it comes to underwriting. And also making sure they have a diverse credit profile, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, open accounts, revolving accounts, hard trade lines and things of that nature. So giving them that 10% mix so they have healthy credit. And so for you guys, this is important, because I know you can sell a house at a 580, but at Debt Cleanse, we definitely don't advocate in doing that. Why? Because as you can see here in the example, John has a 599, and look at his interest rate. It is sweltering. And we know that a person that has a 730 is going to have a significantly lower interest rate, which could potentially save them over $200,000 on the exact same 30-year fixed mortgage, right? And so we want to make sure clients are understanding this from the onset. And when they meet with us, you refer them to the person that invited you to come on here tonight. And when they meet with us, we're going to make sure they see this same information, and we're going to talk to them from a consumer perspective. Even when it comes to buying cars, we definitely don't want them buying a car before a house, but we want to educate them that making financial decisions with poor credit is extremely costly. In this same example, they're spending over $9,000 more if they have poor credit score as opposed to a good credit score. So are you ready for a solution? I know you guys are always looking for trustworthy options. You're looking for professionals to be able to send your clients to, and that's what we offer here at Debt Cleanse. And so we're going to give them a roadmap to better credit by analyzing. So the credit reporting, it can be confusing. People don't know what they're looking at, but we do access that true credit data, and we're going to help them evaluate that so that there are no missed opportunities to improve it. Secondly, we're going to dispute it. Again, our Debt Cleanse attorneys are going to quarterback the dispute process until we get the job done. How long can you anticipate your client on this process? Average is about 4 to 6 months, but of course, that could vary. So depending on, how how in debt your client is, that you refer over to us, or just, how poor their credit is. Of course, that could vary, but we're going to try to get them in the system and out the system back to you so you can get keys in their hand. And ultimately, it'll be a win-win situation for all of us. We're going to escalate those disputes as necessary. So our attorneys are trained to pursue claims. They're trained to sue and litigate in the behalf of the client. And so we're going to make sure that whatever we have to do, we're going to legally do that and be aggressive bulldogs in that. And then, of course, future management. Again, every 35 days, you can trust that your client is going to be meeting with their assigned attorney, and we're going to be able to help them build strong credit in an ongoing process. They will also have their own client portal where they'll be able to see all of the tools. And let me tell you what I love is inside of that portal, they're going to have all three of their credit scores, but they're also going to have a score simulator. And then this was written, well, I wouldn't say written, this was designed by mortgage professionals, because there is a simulator that I know you guys are familiar with when you're looking at lending, but it shows like if they have on-hand cash, how they're able to take that on-hand cash, apply it to those debts, and further increase that credit score. So you guys are really going to love that for your clients. So listen, we want to help them again, stop those constant collection calls, stop the run around so that we can, get them in a home. And we want to make sure that they don't have to worry about dealing with all these collection letters and all of the stress that comes along with that, stopping those nasty calls, whether it's student loans or other debtors or creditors. We want to stop that and put an end to all those collection threats and harassment, and ultimately fix these credit reports so that these errors are not stopping them from the American dream. So this is how we help your clients get their life back on track. They get to now finally choose themselves over their creditors, and they're not just having to live to pay bills. I know what that's like personally. As a social worker of 16 years, I got introduced to this industry because I myself needed credit repair. I was drowning in debt, had no money saved, prepaying for lights, and my credit score was a 550. But I tell you, I got so tired every month of paying rent in a 2-bedroom apartment when I knew I could take that same money and create equity. And so, I got introduced to this industry. I literally, purchased this home, 2.25% interest rate, but my high credit score now is a 766, and I'm not overwhelmed. I'm not up all night thinking about debt. And I'm also in position, just like every American, to be able to create the life that I deserve. And so as a member, your client will be able to be referred over to the person that sent you this information. As an advocate, we get them set up in a very confidential setting. It's only $129.90. I know you probably thought with all of the access to attorneys and the tools they're going to get, it was quite expensive, but no, just $129.90. They pay $79.95 per month after that, and there's no contract. So when they got their goal achieved, and of course the advocate that shared this will be communicating with you, as you guys work together to fill the pipeline. But your clients are going to get monthly consultations. They're going to get the debt analysis tool, the score simulator I mentioned earlier. They get a score tracker. They get dispute letters sent for them. So we don't have to worry about them not doing things on their part because they forgot to go by the post office, so they work late and they never can get there in time. The attorneys are going to do the disputes. It could actually be written disputes. It could be phone disputes. It's going to be whatever strategy they feel like is going to be the legal and most fast and effective way to get your client to the closing table. Okay. Also, they get the 3-bureau report and score. So every month they'll get an updated report. It has their Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian scores. And they also get $1 million of identity theft protection. So listen, you all, we all know that the best defense is a great offense, and right. And that's how DEBTCLEANSE is going to be able to help empower your clients. And so we want to thank you for watching this. If you are interested in referring over your clients, definitely get back to the person that shared this video with you. Now, if you're like, you know what, the market's been kind of crazy, I haven't, seen the numbers I wanted to see. And right now in your geographical area, if you're not selling and turning keys as much as you like, we do want to invite you to take a closer look at this, because as we advocate for clients' needs, you also can do the same. So there is an opportunity here for you to be a DEBTCLEANSE broker, where now you get to share information, you can build a team. And so if you're interested in that, the person that shared this with you can show you how for just $50 more, you actually don't even have to send your clients out. You could be a one-stop shop, add this to your umbrella and put this in your portfolio. And now you yourself can serve your clients. You can get commission for that. You can get services for yourself if you need them, but also you can go out and help make America great again. So thank you again. This is Michelle Kofer. I'm an advocate with this company. Get back with the advocate that shared this, and we look forward to merging ecosystems and helping to get the homeownership rate in America up. Thank you guys so much, and take care. Good night, everybody.